Welcome. Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together. We begin as always with a question that comes in advance. We're joined in our sacred Ganga Arti, in our sacred Satsang, by our family all over the world, in so many cities of so many countries all over, who, through this great gift of technology, are able to be with us, even though they can't be physically here. And their questions come in advance. So in honor to those who aren't able to be with us on the banks of Ganga, we start with a question that they've sent in and then open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. So the first question that we'll start with is a question that says, is suffering a necessary part of the human condition? What would people who never suffered be like? It's a bit of a trick question. And I mention that because on the one hand, is it a necessary part of the human condition? Yes, pretty much. And yet, the whole point of our spiritual practice, our sadhana, our yoga, whether the path of Jnana Yoga, the path of Bhakti Yoga, the path of Karma Yoga, the path of Raja Yoga, whatever path of yoga we're walking, ultimately the goal of all of that is the alleviation of suffering, because it alleviates that within us that causes the suffering. So as long as we are mired in aspects of the human condition, like our egos, like our false identification, then yeah, we're going to suffer. Suffering is an emotional experience. A lot of people think pain and suffering is the same thing. So the first part is to understand that while pain is almost inevitable, not 100%, there must be some people who have never experienced, a stomach ache or a headache, or who have never broken a bone or cut themselves. It's probably really rare. But that's pain. That's a very physical reaction of our sensory neurons of different parts of the body sending a message into the brain that gets understood as pain. It's that which causes us to pull our hand off of a hot stove. Right? If that hot stove didn't hurt, we wouldn't be able to pull our hand off fast enough to prevent burning the entire hand away. It's that immediate instinct of pain that causes us to pull the hand away. But suffering is the emotional response that says, that's not fair. Why me? Why did this have to happen? Now I'm not going to be able to play the game of baseball that I wanted to play. I'm not going to be able to write the things I wanted to write. I'm not going to be able to do the things I wanted to do because I've burned my hand. Suffering is the emotional drama that goes along with the pain. So pain is almost inevitable. Suffering as long as we are living as that ego, living as this sense of my identity being my physical body, being my role, being my career, being what I look like, being my relationships, being my ego, well, inevitably, things are not always going to go the way I want them to. People won't be nice to me, they won't respect me, they won't treat me the way I want them to treat me. I will be very nice to people. सबके लिए मैं सब कुछ कर लूँगी और फिर मेरे से ठीक से बात भी नहीं करेंगे. मैंने सब किया उनके लिए, ठीक से बात नहीं कर सकते क्या? But you see that suffering, it's in the mind. I've created it. So we almost all suffer because we almost all are identified as these stories, as these identities, as these bodies. And so we want people should be nice to us, they should be respectful, they should treat us the way we want them to. The universe should act according to the way we want it to. And when it doesn't, we suffer. We suffer anger, we suffer jealousy, we suffer frustration, we suffer grief. But the freedom from suffering lies in recognizing that we are not. We're not the physical body. We're not the story. We're not the personality. We're not that identity. We're not our bank account. We're not all of these ways that we identify. And also by realizing that we're whole, we're full. So I suffer because I feel like I'm lacking. I need your approval because I feel on some level like I'm lacking. I need you to tell me I'm beautiful because I don't know it. I need you to tell me I'm wonderful because I don't know it. I need you to love everything I post on social media because if you don't, then I forget I exist. I need you to always respect me, love me, appreciate me, because then I'll realize and remember I'm a worthwhile human being, that I deserve occupying my place on planet Earth. You see where that leads us almost immediately and inevitably into suffering, because not everyone's going to tell you you're beautiful or wonderful. Not everyone's going to appreciate you. Not everyone's going to love and share your posts on social media. And if I need all of that, if I need on a more serious level the universe to give me what I want, when I want it, how I want it, the money, the success, the health, the relationships, that which I think I should have, if I don't get it, I'm going to suffer. But we realize that all of that suffering is because I don't realize how full I am. That I think that somehow my fullness requires a particular job, a particular relationship, a particular appreciation or respect or love from the community. And this is where our sadhana is so important. Because then we realize I don't need the universe to dance according to my tune. So someone who doesn't suffer, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna speaks so beautifully about what the yogi is like, what the wise one is like. Well, the wise one, the yogi, is one who doesn't go up and down as the world goes up and down. Pleasure, pain, success, failure, gain, loss. The yogi is stable. fact, there's a beautiful line that says yoga is the cessation of, the breaking of, the union with suffering. So yoga is that which helps us break that union that we have with suffering, because it shows us the truth of who we are. And then suddenly, regardless of what's happening in the world around me, I'm able to stay anchored and grounded and peaceful and joyful, because that's my nature. So it's why we meditate. It's why we do yoga. We also realize that inevitably in our lives things are not going to go the way we want them to. And as long as I'm attached to that, then suffering becomes inevitable. A lot of us think, well, if I'm going to stop suffering, I just have to figure out how to make everyone do what I want. If you ask a lot of people, "Acha, kya hua aapko?" What happened? Why are you sad? Why are you frustrated? They'll tell you, because so-and-so did such and such. Because my husband, my wife, my child, my mother, my father, my boss, my employee acted in this way. वो मुझसे ठीक से बात नहीं करते, अपने काम ठीक से नहीं करते, जो मन में आते वही करते, सोचते नहीं है. So we suffer because we have an agenda. कि जिस तरह से मुझे लगता है कि सब चीज होना चाहिए, वैसे होना चाहिए. When it doesn't happen, I suffer. But yoga, remember, is the breaking of that union with suffering. Because it's a breaking of the attachment to ignorance. It's the breaking free from the ignorance into the truth. When we pray, asatoma sadgamaya tamso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. When we are led from falsehood to truth, from darkness to light, from this identification as the one who is born, who changes, who dies, to the awareness that we are one with infinity, will we stop suffering? So is it inevitable if we're human? Yes and no. Yes, if we think that we are only human, but no, if we realize that we are actually the divine having a human experience. The divine in a human incarnation. Then we have the possibility of breaking free from suffering. But lastly, I would say, the human condition itself, there's something very, very beautiful about it. Even though, yes, we are taught, work for this moksha so that we don't have to keep coming back, that we're just one with God, no more human incarnations. And yet, if you think about it, there's something very precious, very beautiful about the human heart, about the heart that loves and then suffers, that loves and then grieves when we lose. And as we are walking our path of enlightenment, our path of realization, of awakening, it's also very beautiful to realize, here I am in a human incarnation with a human heart that loves. And where there's love, in a human way, not just love for the divine, but when there's love in this very human way, there's going to be grief. We get beyond the grief because our loved one doesn't dance according to our tune, but there's grief when there's loss. There's grief when there's illness. There's grief when there's passing. And there's suffering that goes with that. And in cases like that, the suffering simply means you've loved with a human heart. Not just as the divine loving the divine, but you've loved as a human loving a human. And therefore now you are grieving as a human who has lost a human. And there's also something very beautiful and very precious about that. Something very beautiful to be experienced and learned in that as well. So, yes, we move forward from suffering. But also, yes, we, along the way, acknowledge and touch that very humanness within us that loves and cares and yearns and therefore suffers. Are there any questions from anyone here? Yes.
Namaskar. What should be the dinacharya of a jiva? So, all of us, what should do from morning to night? What activities should be done? What nitya karma we should do according to?
Beautiful. So what should we do all day? What activities? What should be our daily schedule as awakening spiritual beings? First of all, more important than what? मैं what के बारे में बताऊंगी, लेकिन what से पहले हमें ये पूछना है who. क्योंकि what is just an action, जो कर्म हम करेंगे. लेकिन सबसे पहले हमें पूछना है who. Who is the one doing the karma? मान लीजिएगा मैं आपसे पूछूं कि in your day, is it good or is it bad if you take a knife and you stick it in someone else's chest? Huh? You're shaking your head like, no, that's not good. But what if you're a heart surgeon? What if you're a heart surgeon and the person on your table has had a heart attack? Huh? And they need surgery in order to stay alive. Then is it good or is it bad? Huh? Good, right? Then you're saving the person's life. Now that's a matter of who on the most physical level. That's just my job. But even on that level, the difference of who changes how we look at what. The what is simply taking a knife, thrust it in someone's chest. काटना चाहिए कि नहीं काटना चाहिए? नहीं काटना चाहिए. अगर आप डॉक्टर हो, हाँ तो कर सकते हैं. अगर आप ऐसा डॉक्टर हो, दिल की डॉक्टर, कार्डियक सर्जन, जो सबकी दिल को ठीक करते हैं, और जो सामने वाला व्यक्ति का हार्ट अटैक हो गया, अगर आप ऑपरेट नहीं करोगे तो मर जाएंगे. करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए? फिर करना चाहिए. ठीक है? So, what isn't even as simple as something that seems obvious, like we take a knife and put it in someone's chest. It matters who it is that's doing it. हम अगर करेंगे तो नहीं करना चाहिए. गलत बात है. एक cardiac surgeon करेंगे तो बढ़िया बात है. They're saving someone's life. But now you take it a step deeper. Let's go a step deeper. मैं किसी का सेवा करने जा रही हूँ. Okay? I am going to feed the hungry. खाना बनाया. I go out into the road the hungry people are there, I feed them. Okay? Karna chahiye ki nahi karna chahiye? Karna chahiye, beautiful. Yes, of course. We should. And yet, if in my mind I'm thinking, wow, what a sevak I am. मैं कितना सुंदर व्यक्ति हूँ. Wow. Look at this. मैंने अपने समय, अपनी resources, I've taken my time, my money, my energy to cook food for others, to serve them. I am so great. Wow. Everybody should bow to me. Everyone should worship me. Everyone should applaud me because I'm so great. Now you see the problem there. जो मेरी personal sadhana, my personal growth, my personal spiritual path, हम कहते ही सेवा करना चाहिए. But in this particular situation, this is actually, it's beneficial for the people I'm feeding, but it's actually much worse for my own sadhana than not feeding them. Because through the act of feeding them, my sense of my ego has gotten so strong that I'm actually worse off than I was before. अगर हम उसी दृष्टि से सेवा करेंगे कि we are the great ones, we are serving them, we should be given awards, we should be given gold stars, everyone should appreciate us, they are the ones who do not have, we have, then actually अपनी साधना का नुकसान हो रहा है. मेरे ego बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, illusion बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, ignorance बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि nothing is mine. And this is where Bhagavan Krishna teaches us in the Bhagavad Gita. Become a tool, become an instrument. You're serving, but it's not you. I'm just an instrument in God's hands. Then whether you're a doctor, whether you're feeding people, whether you're teaching, whether you're smiling at someone, whatever you're doing, it actually becomes part of your spiritual path. So when you ask about our daily program, sabse pehle prashna is who? Who is the one doing it? Am I doing it as the doer? The great one? The one who deserves an award? Then whatever I'm doing wrong. Then what I need to do is simply sit down, close my eyes and meditate, or read the scriptures until I can realize it's not me. My favorite way of thinking about this is the moon. Khaskar jo full moon, Purnima. We look at the full moon and we think, the moon is so bright, so beautiful. Shows the way to the people in the forest. Helps them out of the forest. Shows the sailors how to get back to the shore. लेकिन सच बात यह है कि moon का कोई अपना light नहीं है. Light किसका है? Suraj. It's the sun. Right? The moon has no light. It's the light of the sun. All the moon does is reflect the light of the sun onto the earth. In the same way, हमें याद रखना है कि whatever we are able to do, it's because we are in alignment with the divine. The light that the moon is able to reflect onto the earth is because she is in alignment between the sun and the earth. Full alignment, Purnima. Out of alignment, Amavasya. Right? Moon is the same shape, but when she's in full alignment, full moon. Out of alignment, no moon. ठीक इसी तरह से in our lives to realize How can we get in full alignment so that whatever we do, we are sharing light with others? So, yes, meditation. Our day should always begin with meditation. Of course. Prayers, japa. However we can begin our day with sadhana is very important. Then all day long, we live that sadhana in action. Meditation in action, yoga in action, prayer in action. क्योंकि जो अनुभव हमको ध्यान में बैठते हुए मिलते हैं, that anubhav, that experience of meditation, is not supposed to be just on the cushion. It's not I stand up from meditation and now my experience is over. In my meditation, I realize I am one with all. Well, when I stand up and live and act, I should be acting that, living that. Otherwise, my meditation's not real. And then at the end of the day, we come back. We assess. Pujya Swamiji says meditation, no reaction in the day, not to react, but to stay anchored and grounded. Then in the evening, introspection. How did it go? Was I in alignment all day long? Or did I get out of alignment? Was I a full reflector of the light of grace, the light of the divine, onto those around me all day? Or did I get stuck? Did I get over-identified with this physical body, with this role, with this story? Did I experience and act on anger, greed, jealousy, ignorance? And if I did, it's okay. Don't start to yell at yourself, because that's usually what we do. Then we just make it worse. You're stupid. You're horrible. You're worthless. We just offer it to the divine. Offer it to the divine. And then we begin the next day. So we've got our moments of our eyes closed, seated on the mat, on the cushion. Meditation, yoga, prayer. But then we have the rest of the day of our standing up, eyes open, off the mat, off the cushion. Meditation, prayer, and yoga. So as long as my who is set, as long as I know who I am, which I get in my meditation, then whatever I do all day long, I will be doing as a reflection of that divine. Beautiful. Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
It is compulsory to sit like this in meditation, or we can sit like this.
Beautiful. So, that's your grandma, right? You said? Okay. Do you love your grandma? Does your grandma love you? Okay. Now, when you're with your grandma, how do you sit with your grandma? Yeah, normally how do you sit with grandma? If you're just sitting, the two of you, just you and grandma, कैसे बातें हैं उनके साथ? Anyway, right? दे दो उसको mic. How do you sit with her normally?
Anyway.
Anyway. So does she love you more if you sit one way or the other way?
Mm-hmm.
No.
She loves same.
She loves the same. She loves the same. Does she love you more if you stand up or sit down?
She loves the same.
She loves the same. Really? Okay. So if your grandma can be so wonderful and gracious and open, don't you think God can be? So if we are loving God, Do you think that God is happier with us because our legs are crossed? What if you break your leg and your leg is in plaster? Does God love you less?
Mhm.
Of course not, right?
He loves equal.
He loves you equal. What about if you're standing up? Does he
loves
still
equal.
love you?
Yes.
What if you're walking or running or jumping?
Equal.
Equal. Okay. So, that's the first part. God loves you the same. However you sit, it doesn't matter. We are able to experience the truth of who we are. However we sit, it doesn't matter. Because the truth is within us. It's not that the truth of who I am is in the sole of my foot. And अगर मैं ऐसे बैठ जाऊंगी तो ठीक से देख सकूंगी, for I remember who I am. ऐसे नहीं है. Like in school, people would cheat by putting, the answers like here and here and here.
That's bad. That's bad.
Right? But it's not like that in meditation, where I've got the answer to who I am on the bottom of my foot. तो ऐसे ही बैठना है ताकि मैं देखते रहूं. It's not like that. However I sit, or stand, or walk, or run, or jump, who I am is there. I can access that. However, that's part one. But there's a part two. Now, in meditation, we are working with the divine energies. Now, God is everywhere. God is with you standing, sitting, running, jumping, sleeping. Doesn't matter. But there's energies in our body. Energies in our body, right? We don't have just a physical body. We have what's called the subtle body, right? Our energetic body. Our energetic body has a lot of different channels. Now, I won't go into all the details, ये तो बहुत लंबा class है. But it's important to understand that some of those channels, especially the energetic channels that come up through our body, through what's called the chakras, the energetic system, right? The 7 chakras that we have in our body. So if we sit straight like this, it allows those energetic channels to be open. It allows the energy to flow much better. Have you ever drank juice from a straw? Okay? So if you're drinking juice from a straw, how should the straw be so you can get the most juice? Straight. What happens if you bend the straw? Juice नहीं आते है ना? बिल्कुल भी नहीं आता. हाँ. You suck, nothing comes. So in the same way, if we take these energetic channels of the body and we go like this, well, it's not that there's no energy. It's just it doesn't flow as well, like juice doesn't flow through the straw nearly as well as when the straw is straight. So to align those energies in the body, we sit straight, so that all of those energies can flow through us. Between the atmosphere, the universe, Mother Earth, our own energetic system, all the way from our Muladhara chakra, all the way up to our crown chakra. So we sit straight. But whether our legs are like this, whether they're in Padmasana, whether we're sitting in Vajrasana like you're sitting, it's all okay. What's important is just that the spine should be straight. Even sitting in a chair is okay. Just as long as the energy can flow in a straight way. You don't want to be too strong, not like this, because the breath has to flow. But when you're straight, then the energy flows very, very freely, and it allows that energy to touch and to awaken all of the different aspects within your whole energetic body. Because ultimately the goal is that the energy should come all the way up. So just think about trying to suck that juice up the straw. It's going to take a lot more effort to get the juice all the way up if the straw is not straight. So in the same way, if we want the energy to rise through the body, it happens a lot better if the energy channels are open. Okay, does that make sense? Wonderful. You have one more question. Are you with us tomorrow also? Kal bhi ho. ठीक है. तो कल आपका second question से शुरू करेंगे हम लोग. ठीक है? What's your name? Sanji. Wonderful. So tomorrow you will sit right there. We will start with your question tomorrow.
I want to ask something.
Wonderful.
I'm Neema Jain from Chennai. I've come first time to Haridwar. And any one good thing I want to get it from you and go.
So we'll end with this. Any one good thing. Realize that who you are, right here, right now, in this breath, is full, is whole, is complete, is perfect. You don't need to achieve something, obtain something, acquire something, earn something, buy something, become something. That in this very moment, you are perfect. In this very moment, you are divine. There's nothing that needs to be done or achieved or gotten. We act in the world because it is our dharma to act, but not because it makes us full or complete or whole or pure or worthy or divine. But so many of us think that our worthiness here on earth is based on what we achieve, what we look like, what we do, what we acquire, how much. And we always feel like we're not quite there yet, that there's just something between me and how I should be, between me and my enoughness. And to realize that who you are at the core is divine. And to say you're not enough, you're not full, you're not complete, is to say that God somehow made a mistake or left you half-baked. Have that awareness every moment. Yes, I'm going to strive and serve and be a clear channel for the divine flow, to be this instrument. Even as St. Francis of Assisi said so beautifully, this instrument, O Lord, make me an instrument of thy mercy. Where there is darkness, let me bring light. Where there is despair, hope. So we want to be those instruments. But not because that's what makes us full, or that's what makes us worthy, or that's what makes us who we are. That just you, exactly as you are, is perfect, and full, and whole, and complete, and divine. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. Beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And we'll look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.